Season 2 of Just Getting Better is brought to you by Palm Bay International, a family-owned wine and spirit supplier.
Just like our podcast, Palm Bay knows that truly special wines just keep getting better.
Their exceptional portfolio represents award-winning family producers from the most exciting wine regions in the world.
Visit palmbay.com to find out where to buy.
Julia, I got to tell you. So, the last time we were together, you were talking about cozy season. And I was like, what is that? I've never heard that term. And you were talking about soups and the holidays. And my brain was exploding because I was so in the moment of where I was, because it was so busy that I couldn't even get myself to this magical, wonderful place that you were talking about. And so I will tell you, I took it as a charge. So over the past week, I have moved myself now into, I'm ready for the holidays. I'm ready for cozy season. I'm like all the things that you talked about.
First, I did not put you as a charge to do that. So I just need to let the audience know. I just need to let them know it was not a requirement that I forced you into cozy season.
It was an inspiration.
Thank you. Now, we're both in the same season, which is great.
Yes.
I am here traveling in France and Paris right now, specifically. But yeah, it is, one day is hot, one day is cold, one day is rainy. It is all the seasons in one day.
Yes. Well, that's that latitude where you are. And I'm excited, because here we are in the middle of November, and in less than a month, I'm going to be in France. And so one of the things that inspired me with your cozy season is I was planning, I've had some space to look at, so we're going to be in Alsace for 5 days. And this is a dream come true for me. We are doing Christmas markets. We're doing Colmar and Strasbourg and Basel, Switzerland. Am I saying that right? Basel, Switzerland.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm so excited. One of the Christmas markets in Strasbourg is the oldest in Europe. They say it started in 1570.
Excuse me, what?
1570. This Christmas market's been going. Isn't that crazy?
Amazing.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you. Yeah, cozy season includes a lot of things. Travel, it can be soups. Also, it could just be resting, right? It could be whatever that means for that person who needs it. So for me, it is, I am a huge fan of all the holiday movies. I mean, I'm a Charlie Brown Christmas kind of girl, Frosty the Snowman, the old school stuff, still with the snow. So I'm just excited about this time. I'm excited about our new season and the guests that are, have come and coming. I'm just, and Jane and I, we were talking about joy, right? And I was explaining, like, as we move into this slower time, for quote unquote slower, just recognizing joy of this year and starting to pod with you. So for me, I am embracing and enjoying that part. And that's also part of the cozy season, is embracing that joy. And I know that everyone doesn't get to have that. And I'm just grateful for that. I get to have that and share that with you.
Absolutely. Yeah. I feel the exact same way. It's been a bumpy year, I mean, like you said, we've had a lot of joy, a lot of blessings, but there's a lot going on that we are still very much aware of. So, so I think the holidays is a time, like you said, to kind of slow down, if one can do that, and
I
reflect.
can do that really well.
I know you do that better than I do. I don't do that so well, but stereotypical. Here you go.
Here you go.
But the reason I bring all this up is because, after I'm in Alsace for 5 days, I'm going to be in Paris for 5 days, which is my, it's funny. The first time I went to Paris, gosh, Julia, I don't remember. It was a long time ago. And there's something about that city, like it just settles with me. And so whenever as often as I can, even if I'm going on a work trip that's not in Paris, I like to fly in and out of Charles de Gaulle and train to where I'm going and stuff, because I like to take just by myself a day or 2 days I just feel so comfortable in that city especially like by myself. I just love it. There's something about it that like when I got there for the first time, I kind of was like, it's not like I've been here before. It's just, I just feel very peaceful and centered there. And so the reason I bring that up is because you're in Paris now, and we have such a cool guest that we're going to be talking to today. And she is there with you. You're in Paris together.
I met Jane in person 2 years ago, and she took me to this cool bar in Paris that actually had American happy hour prices for cocktails. And that's how
I've read about this bar.
Yes, I'm excited about this. So, if you don't know about La Cuisine Paris, the cooking school in Paris, you should, and you will by the end of this episode. So Jane Bertch is a native Chicagoan who has spent nearly 25 years living and working in Europe, with almost 20 years in Paris. She spent the first part of the French experience working in financial services for an American bank. In 2009, she founded La Cuisine Paris, a top-rated leisure cooking school in Paris. Jane volunteers as a mentor, both formally and informally, for the expat community, has lectured as a guest professor with International Education Studies, ESSEC Business School, the University of Illinois, and works with many small entrepreneur groups to develop training and outreach programs. Jane's inspiration and delicious memoir, of course, The French Ingredient, Making a Life in Paris, One Lesson at a Time, debuted April of this year. We are thrilled to welcome my friend and founder of La Cuisine Paris and author of The French Ingredient, Making a Life in Paris, One Lesson at a Time, Jane Bertch, to Just Getting Better.
Oh, welcome, Jane. Thank you for joining us today.
I'm so excited to be here. I've been watching you ladies forever, so this is such a treat to be with you.
We're so happy, Jane. I would say one of the best things about social media is meeting people and becoming friends. And for many, including myself, it's the dream. For those who haven't read the book yet, Jane, can you give a brief introduction of how you came to live in Paris?
So probably not the story that most people want to hear. I came to Paris because I was working in a corporate organization and an opportunity came up here. And I said yes, without much thought. And sometimes we need to have those moments where we just say yes because we're driven to a certain direction. And that's what brought me here, working in the same American bank I had spent many years already working for.
I want to tell you how much I enjoyed reading your memoir. It's so much fun. Like I said, I have it right here.
Thank you.
I have, as Julie and I just talked about, I visited many parts of France, including Paris, multiple times. And reading your book, you affirmed some of my beliefs and enlightened me in other ways. The way you describe your journey strikes me as you are someone who's very courageous. Your journey has a little naivete to it, but I think in this, but in a positive way.
Absolutely.
You're super gutsy. And at times your journey is scary and also quite humorous. In all of it, what have you learned about yourself that surprised you? And what lessons can you pass on to our audience who may not want to move to another country or shift careers midlife, but are seeking to cultivate new skills and create their own adventure?
Absolutely, Michelle. Thank you for that. And it's so timely because I realize I'm my worst enemy when I think I already know everything, which my first boss at the bank I worked for said, Jane, your biggest problem is you think you're the smartest person in the room. But I've taken the positives of that, which is I try to enter a room with confidence. Now, behind the scenes, do I have that confidence? Probably not. So it's a lot of me trying to fill a role that I want to have. And in terms of being my worst enemy when I know too much, I'm my best version of myself when I can approach something with childlike curiosity. And so that's the naivete that you saw. It's the exploration that we all need to put ourselves in situations where we're able to discover this new world that we never had access to. And I think it's Rumi said it best. I'm going to bastardize his quote a little bit. Trade cleverness for bewilderment. It's such a wonderful situation at any age to be in complete awe of this new world that you have. And so that's what I try to do still today, is to force myself to get into situations where I'm out of my comfort zone, where I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And I have an opportunity to learn, because that's when I'm really thriving.
So has this surprised you about yourself or?
It did, because that's not always compatible with the my can-do attitude. Is sometimes you can, but don't. Okay, it doesn't work for you. But if you take that can-do attitude and then pair it with, you know what, this is a new opportunity for me to explore and learn and play those elements that somehow we think are not important as we get older in age. Actually, they're crucial. You know, these are the years when I need to continue to explore to see what versions of me have yet to happen.
That's amazing, because we all have different versions of us, of ourselves.
Every day.
Right, we're just getting better.
We're just getting better. And you know what? It's okay to, I think I learned this with Beyonce. I always felt, little dance there, I always felt at odds with having a public business, but being very private. And then I learned that Beyonce has an avatar. Did you know this? Sasha Fierce.
Yeah, Sasha Fierce. Mm-hmm.
So that is her public persona. And then it became okay and real to me that we can have different versions of ourselves, and that's very normal. And it's actually very healthy. Who I am at home is different than who I am when I'm here and I'm greeting clients, because they require two different versions of me.
You know, that's great insight. Something just popped into my head hearing you say that. You know, we hear women talk about this more than we hear men talk about this, the idea of imposter syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like maybe, you know, without asking you that question, that's kind of what you're speaking to, is you can have different versions of yourself in different aspects of your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm very cautious about using the word imposter syndrome, because I had a dynamic woman that I think a lot of, that challenged me on where that term started and who employed it first. But the reality is we're always in situations where we don't necessarily think we have enough information to be our best selves. I mean, that's normal. It could be me going to a car mechanic shop. I don't know how to buy there. So I'm already faced with, I have a deficit of information, and we have that happen to us all day long. So the question is, what do we do with that deficit? Do we let it pull us back? Or do we say, you know what, I'm going to figure out what the hell I'm doing. I'm going to get the right people around me to make smart decisions, and I'm going to go forward. And I have lots of points where I want to pull back because I feel like I'm out of my depth. I'm not swimming in my lane. And I say to myself, you know what? I have the whole pool. So it's up to me to challenge me, to get the right people, to push myself and say, you can figure it out. You can find the right decisions. You don't have to worry about the information that you don't have. Focus on the information that you need to get.
That's so amazing. I know for me, Paris has been a place of dreams and aspirations. My love affair with Paris came from James Baldwin, Giovanni's Room, his famous book about living in Paris. And my father believed liberated Black people could go to Paris and thrive. How do you feel that you've thrived in Paris in ways you haven't in the US?
I love this question, because this is where we all need to remind ourselves what makes us different is our secret sauce. What makes us different? We spend so much time trying to fit in. And I can tell you, as an overweight child with red hair that cut it very short into an afro when I was younger, I wanted to fit in so much. And I didn't. But now I realize that is my secret sauce. I can go into a typically French organization or business and ask the questions that a French person wouldn't dare, because they have social codes they must follow. I don't, because I'm not aware of them. I can make mistakes when I'm doing something. I can not wait for a presentation because I don't need to have that special invitation. So this is where sometimes you fit in best when you are okay with what makes you different. And I know, again, as an overweight redhead who looked like a boy until a certain point in my life, which I talk about in the book, some of my grandmother's friends actually think that I was a boy, and that's okay. but now I accept what makes me different and I try to use it for my benefit.
Oh, that's so touching and heartwarming and so true. Thank you for reminding us that. That's a very important lesson, I
Mind you,
think.
I still may go short one day, but I just
Yeah.
know I look like something from the Renaissance with a nice.
Well, from the outside, looking at you, an American living in Paris, pursuing your dream of owning a highly successful business, it all seems very romantic. But you created your success through hard work, perseverance, and belief in yourself. Still, you continue to use your life and your story to inspire and mentor others, both in the expat community and with entrepreneurs. Where does this confidence and drive come from within you? And what does paying this forward mean to you?
Oh my God, Michelle, that's such a great question. So where does the confidence and drive come from? And this is something Julia and I talked about recently. I don't mistake gratitude for something that we have the right. I'm not grateful to sit at the table with others. I feel like that's our right to do so. What I'm grateful for is the work that I put in to get there. So for me, it's important that people hear that story. There's certain rights that we should expect. We have to expect, and we don't need to bow down and be grateful for them. Gratitude for me is about the people that support me and the work that I do. So it's very important for me to share that with particularly young women. And I think, where did I get that from? It's from a beautiful mixture of a family with very strong roots who believed that family was everything, but my mother who instilled wings to go out and have experiences and to open those doors because you belong in there. There's no reason why you shouldn't. So I think that's an important message for me to share with younger women and younger business people. You belong. You don't need to feel grateful just to sit there. You belong there.
Also, I have to interject. We also talked about
Yes,
you belong there and not based on age. Like,
exactly.
it's
Exactly.
not about are you under this age for under this age list and the next list. You deserve because it's your born right to exist in that space and that place.
Right.
Because everybody may not peak on the 30 under 30 list. And that
Exactly.
we had to talk about it, and that is understanding, like, if you had talked to yourself 30 years previously, you could not have seen this outcome 30 years later.
Oh my God, no. No, never.
Well,
Never.
and we don't talk about, but there is talk about women, as we get older, we disappear. And I hear it. I've heard specific women say it. We've even had a guest from season 1 talk about it, Dr. Camelia Smith. And so what is that message for you, Jane? I mean, you're like Julie and I, you're just getting better. You're continuing to push and grow and thrive and challenge yourself, and through your mentoring, challenge others. Like, that's a whole different level of confidence. That's a whole different, belief in yourself. Can you share some of that with our audience to help those that are listening that are our age that want to continue to keep, we don't want to disappear. We weren't ready to do then what we can do now. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. And I haven't always known this. This is through time and watching fabulous women like you two. You two are great role models. I told Julia today, where I am now is just a branch on my tree. It's just a branch on my tree. There's so many other branches that are yet to be born. And even if I look at that, everything has cycles. A tree has a spring and a summer and a winter. And then guess what? It has a spring again. So maybe there's something else yet to be born in all of us. We can look at nature to see that. So if we don't find the strength in ourselves, let's look at what's happening around us. And I try to take faith from that there are so many other versions of us waiting to happen. It doesn't have to be these big monumental things. It can be the small things that we want to realize in ourselves. But it's up to us to pursue it. And a lot of times we talk ourselves out because we think it's too late or we don't know what we want to do. I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. And I hope I say that when I'm 80. I hope I say that when I'm 80, because then I still have other versions of me to realize, to explore, to learn about. And again, to approach with childlike curiosity. Maybe there's a whole nother world for me that I don't realize. I also say that out of fear. I also say that out of, what if there's something else for me that I don't yet know? And if I don't push myself to explore it, do I want to ask myself, what if? No. What if is a horrible question for me. I have to try it. Also because I'm very nosy. So I want to see if it'll work or not.
I think that's a powerful message for all of our listeners. But, when we think about this being mid-November, like what you're saying really is a powerful message for the women in America right now.
It's one of the things, Jane, and you and I talk. You live in a place where beauty abounds. Everybody knows we talk about Paris, and there's a level of luxury, elegance associated with France in particular. What are some of the simple luxuries you do for yourself? Not the biggest, but the simple luxuries that you do for yourself in your home.
Okay, so I am really I'm a creature of habit, and I'm very simple. I would not call myself fancy, nor somebody that loves luxury.
Okay, we're going to stop this right. Luxury isn't fancy.
I know. Okay, you're right.
I mean a simple luxury.
You
For
know
me,
what?
when I'm in France, a simple luxury is butter.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Simple luxuries. Simple luxuries.
Here are my simple luxuries. A coffee with a girlfriend on a weekday, because that coffee is a fountain of ideas and dreams and aspirations. And to have the benefit to take those 2 hours and recognize how important they are and not feel guilty about them, that's a simple luxury. I love to walk. I'm grateful to walk. That's a simple luxury. I walk a lot in Paris. A simple luxury was a lunch that I recently enjoyed with Julia, where we talked about everything, life, fears, insecurities, dreams, different versions of ourselves. That's a luxury. It's a luxury to spend that time, and it's a luxury to have safe space to do so. And those are precious, precious moments. And then I buy flowers when I'm not being cheap with myself.
Flowers are definitely an everyday luxury.
Yes.
I love fresh flowers. Yes. Okay. So switching gears a little bit.
Okay.
You are in one of the most dynamic gastronomical cities in the world. So can we take a moment or many moments to talk about butter, baguettes, cheese, and chocolate? Would you please share some of your favorite recommendations with our audience? And for those who want more visiting Paris than, say, the Louvre or the Eiffel Tower, which are amazing places, tell us a bit about La Cuisine Paris and what people that are listening and watching us on YouTube can expect when they come to see you.
Okay, got it. So let me, this is a big task. Butter, baguettes, cheese, and chocolates.
Yes.
Butter. I'd say one of the best places to get the butter is at the market. So go to a fromagerie/cremerie, and oftentimes they're selling fresh made farm butter. And, grocery store butter is absolutely fine. This is a one step up that you'll probably really pleased with. So I would definitely do that. Baguettes, your local boulangerie, and you should know that you can order the type of baguette you want. And that's why they're usually stacked left to right. Because if you tell them I want something that's bien cuit, which is well cooked versus undercooked, they'll select a different baguette for you. So try that and see what happens. That's fun. Cheese. One of my favorite shops for cheese is Rue Montorgueil. It's La Fermette. I also love this area because it is historically the food center of Paris, and it's just teeming with history. So get yourself a piece of cheese from there and enjoy the neighborhood.
What arrondissement is that? So for
That is
people
in the
like trying to
first arrondissement. It's in the Les Halles, Halles area, and it's Rue Montorgueil, and it's a pedestrian street. One of the oldest pastry places in Paris is on that street, so I would definitely visit that. And chocolates. Oh my gosh, there's so much to choose from. One of my favorites is à la Mère de Famille. It's one of the oldest chocolate stores in Paris. It is a chain now, but it's wonderful. And they have everything you can imagine. They're on Rue Montorgueil. They're also in different neighborhoods. So I would explore all of those.
And what about La Cuisine Paris? So,
oh my God, yes.
As you know, my husband and I, we will be there next month, and we are doing the pastry and chocolate tour through.
I know
with La Cuisine. So, is it any of the places you mentioned on that tour, or are those extra stops?
So some of the places I mentioned are in a different neighborhood. We're in the Marais, which is like a hotbed of pastry shops. So that's where your tour will focus. I'm very excited to have you. So La Cuisine Paris, we're 15 years old, which is hard to imagine. I like to think that I founded the business when I was 10. That's not the case. That's okay. 15 years old, and we do classic French cuisine and food experiences in English. So we've got visitors from all over the world. And that's our bread and butter or cooking classes. But many years ago, I started food tours because I know that there's so many people that love food, but they don't want to be in a kitchen. I'm one of them, by the way. Shout out for those people that you can do a business and not work in your business. You can understand what clients need, and that is a transferable skill. So I love food tours, and that's how the food tours develop. So I'll be happy to see you going around eating, and they're fat-free experiences, I like to say, because you walk off all the calories before you eat them. So there's that. Good. We think of your health.
I love it. I love it. What about, so what type of cooking classes do you do? I know you mentioned a few in the book, and, for those that are maybe unfamiliar with the introduction with the choux pastry, it's incredibly simple and easy to make. It's easier to make than a lot of,
Absolutely.
Cakes and things like that. So, but I know that's kind of for some French pastries, that's a foundational technique. So, where do you build from there? I hear that there's something about croissants, making croissants.
Yes. So we have croissant classes, we have macaron classes, we have French pastries, we have savory classes where you make sauces or you go to the market with the chefs. We try to focus on kind of classic French cuisine that people are familiar with, that they want to explore. And the classes are between 3 to 4 hours purposefully. A lot of visitors are here because they want to enjoy the city, but we tend to get visitors that love culture and they love food. So that's our expression of it. So yeah, we try to do a little bit of everything for everyone.
And we want to emphasize for people that these are not cooking classes for chefs. These are cooking classes for people who speak English and don't cook or do cook, but that are not professional chefs.
Absolutely. This is, you know what? And I'm so glad you said that, Michelle, because I grew up in a family where food was a foundation. It was not precious. It was family time. And it was about feeding those that you love. And food to me is nothing but a vehicle of culture, of history, of experiences. It does not need to be us, them. It does not need to be elitist. Quite the contrary. Culture and food are for everybody. It's not for a set few. So our classes are really for everyone. Everyone is welcome here. And we're happy to have them.
Oh, amazing. So Jane.
Yes.
What would be, I don't like to say the word perfect, but what would be a great day in Paris for you? Not anyone else, but for you, start to finish.
Okay, start to finish. I'm going to get up. I love to get up early. I journal.
What's early? Like 5:30.
Okay. Yeah, I'm an early bird.
That's early.
I love to journal. I need to journal. That's a big part of me. I'm going to have a slow morning. I'm going to have lots of coffee. I'll probably go to a neighborhood coffee store. Then I'm going to have a fabulous lunch. So kind of like I got to do today, which is have a fabulous lunch with somebody that I appreciate and I enjoy. And we talk about all the subjects. In the afternoon, a little bit of writing, a little bit of reflecting on what are the things that I'd love to do. What are the projects I have in mind, toying with these ideas that pop in and out of our minds all the time, to really dedicate time to them and not let them fleet. It's important. So I'd love to do that. Around 6 p.m., maybe have an apero, a glass of wine. And I will probably end with just nibbles. I'm an early bird to bed too, I have to say. I love to go to bed early. I love to be in my pajamas. There's no shame in me about that. So, and then start again the next day. No shame.
No shame. No shame. No
I
shame.
think Rest is Resistance. There's a book with that title. And if you like to go to bed early or whatever works for you, I just think like finding those, it goes back to those pockets of joy.
Yes.
That you find even in a city that seems full of joy in different ways and gastronomically and aesthetically. So I love that great day, like waking up to the quiet and then going to the coffee and having a longer lunch. I do appreciate that about the French lunch, is that it is a true lunch.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's a great day. And we had a great day today. So
yeah.
And, I guess if there's one thing I learned about France, there's a sacred feeling for time in every sense. Time to enjoy a meal, time to enjoy a coffee with a friend, time to enjoy your retirement, which is why the retirement age was such an issue here. Time to build relationships. They're gained, not given. So I think time permeates so many things in France, and I've come to appreciate that about this country.
You really emphasize what you just said about relationships in your book, that they're gained and not given. And how did that strike you as being very different than the American culture that you're, familiar with?
I had to be the fly at the picnic, just constantly circling around. I'm still here. Let me chat with you. It was very different because, Americans can be fast friends, which is wonderful. There's a comfort in that. Here, that does not happen. But when you do your time and you do have friendships, they are sacred and lifelong, and they're deep and rich. I'm not saying that doesn't happen with North American friendships. Quite the contrary. It does happen, but in a different way. So I guess having that North American spirit, approaching that, I took to heart that people weren't open to me, and I took it personally. And then I kept saying, you know what, this isn't for me right now, and it's not about me. And I had to really step back and not be so sensitive about everything. Same with business relationships. In North America, we can be much more commercial. Here, you will not win business by how much money you're going to throw at it. They don't care. In fact, it's a vulgar discussion to bring that first. They need to have confidence with you as a business and a person before they'll talk with you. So if you go in offering them all this money and stuff like that, that will just fall on very deaf ears. They don't care. They've got a lot of pride in who they work with, not just what they do. So it's things I've had to learn through the years, which seem different.
That's so fascinating. So I'd like to build just for a minute on Julia's question about your perfect day. So I think about Paris is such a seasonal city. And by that, I don't mean that, it just expresses each season so differently. And one of the things that I love about Paris is I was there many years ago with my daughter in February, which is, it was a very inhospitable time to be in Paris. It was so bloody, windy, and damp cold, the kind of cold that goes through your bones.
Yes.
That we actually had to we popped into an H&M, which I think is like a terrible thing to do but we had to buy more layers, more scarves, more gloves, more hats, because we just didn't have enough warm clothes. But yet the thing that I loved about it is it's still Paris. So it's not like being ice cold and freezing in another city in North America where it's just brutal. And, even Chicago, the coldest I've actually ever been in my life was Chicago in late February. But it's still Paris. So you still look around and it's still amazing. So for people who think that visiting, Paris is ideal in the spring and ideal in the summer, and of course it is, and the fall even. Like, what is a day for you, what would be a day for someone who's visiting? Like, would you encourage them to come in the wintertime? Like, what would they do in December, January, February?
Oh my gosh, this is one of the best seasons, Michelle. This is one of the best seasons. This is when you have fromage chauffé, hot molten cheese. This is when our hot cheese dishes come out. Our Mont d'Or comes out. Our raclette meals come out. This is when you can go to Carrette and have a very decadent hot chocolate. This is when you can go to the Bastille Market and it's a little chilly, but get yourself a nice heaping, steaming plate of tartiflette. This is the cozy in a wine bar night with a friend evening. This is the best time to come to Paris. It's just such a different, Julia knows, it's just such a different experience. It's cozy and warm and rich. There's so much to be had this time of year.
That sounds, for me, I hate being cold, but you said
get
warm
you excited?
Cheese. You said warm cheese.
Yes.
Yeah.
Julia is a warm weather person. I'm a cold weather person. Julia's a beach person. I'm a mountain person, so it's like
just put Julia in front of a fireplace.
Perfect person because we're yin and yang on each other. We're perfect balance.
Like warm cheese. That's like
in front of the fireplace.
Like outside in the cold. Long as I can get warm and have like warm cheese and
that's okay. We'll put you in front of the fireplace with a nice glass of juicy red wine, of molten cheese. You'll be okay.
Yes. And I love cold weather, but I don't want to be cold. I want to, I just want to embrace all of it. Yes. So funny. All right. So that our podcast is Just Getting Better. And that we always ask each other how, at the end of each episode, how we're just getting better. And we also invite each one of our guests to tell us and our audience how they're just getting better. So Jane, how are you just getting better today?
How am I just getting better today? And I've thought about this because I know that's the name of your podcast. So I wanted to really think about how am I getting better? I have to challenge myself every day to learn. And I take care to do that. And I need to spend time to do that. So I'm just getting better by trying to force myself to expose myself to something new every day to continue to build my creativity muscle. That's how I am trying to get better and to encourage friends around me to do the same.
That speaks to me. I'm that way too.
And to not get lazy with it because we've got so much going on during a day. It's easy to just repeat, and to come out of that and say, no, okay, I need time to read or to discover something new or to go to an exhibit or to, learn a new topic and to really do it.
Jane, oh my gosh. Just thanks for joining us.
I'm so happy to be here.
How can our audience keep up with you? What do you have going? How can they find out about the cooking school, the book, all the things?
Okay, all the
that
things.
You're willing to share. That you're willing to share.
Which we talked about too. All the things.
Yeah.
So La Cuisine is 15 years old. I don't have a child except for La Cuisine, but I suspect if you have a 15-year-old daughter, which La Cuisine is feminine, she probably wants to have her own thing. I'm respectful of that. So La Cuisine has her identity, La Cuisine Paris. You can find it on all sorts social media. Jane, I have now set up my own Instagram account. So if anybody that wants to connect, it's just Jane Bertch. So I'm very excited about that. And just all the social media channels were there. And I'd love to hear from people. So be pleased to have the fun chats.
So when you say social media, I'm gonna bring it out. Are we talking about like Facebook, Instagram?
Okay, yes.
A little more of social media channels.
Yes. So social media, La Cuisine, Facebook, Instagram. Okay. Jane, more Instagram, or LinkedIn if you want to have a professional view on things. But on the Jane account, we're not talking about croissants I'm sorry, I don't eat croissants every day. We're talking about life things, being a woman in business and being a 48-year-old woman and coming up with new ideas and having the confidence to pursue them and all those things. So,
well,
Okay.
and
Love it.
websites, La Cuisine Paris and
LaCuisineParis.com and JaneBertch.com.
Jane Bertch. Yeah. Okay.
And where can everybody find the books? The book. The book
Oh my
is
God, the
still
book.
in the book. The book.
So, yes, Michelle, thank you.
Look at your YouTube, people. Look at the Instagram reels. Here's the book.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful cover, beautiful illustration.
That was designed by a local artist. She's actually from the Midwest as well. Jessie, you can read about her in the cover. I wanted her to do the art. And I will say the book, if you read it twice, you'll probably find why I wrote it. And it wasn't to talk about me. That was the self-help book that I wanted to do. But I had to do it through the Paris vehicle. And it talks about the stories we all share, finding ourselves, falling down, getting up, having confidence when we don't. So if anybody reads it, I hope you see that in it. So
I did. I saw it. Mm-hmm. We
Yeah,
see
it's
you.
a-
We
it's
see
a
you,
great-
Jay.
you see me?
We see you.
I love it.
It's a great book. It's really like, and it's not about just Paris. And so for people who haven't read the book, it's about anyone who something sparks something in you, and you're trying to figure out how to take a leap, no matter
Yes.
what that is.
Yes.
It
And
does not
Julia,
necessarily mean moving to another country. It could be any type of leap.
Julia,
The book
thank
is
you.
about leaping.
Thank you for that. And like all of us on this call and listening, there's different layers of who we are. And I wanted the book to be different layers. So hopefully if you just want to read about culture and doing business in France, you'll get that. If you want to read about food, hopefully you'll get that. If you need to hear a story that anything is possible, I hope you get that because it really is true. So,
And overcoming obstacles too.
oh, absolutely.
Unforeseen obstacles. Sometimes global obstacles.
I know. But that's our life story. We deal with that every day, just in different versions and more to come. They never end.
Yeah.
That's
never
true.
end. Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Jane. This has just
Thank
been
you.
wonderful. Such a rich, wonderful conversation. We appreciate your time, and we're so
I'm so
thankful
happy
to
to
have
be
you
here.
on Just Getting Better today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Just Getting Better with your hosts, Michelle Williams
And Julia Coney.
We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into some important topics impacting women today. To ensure you never miss an episode, click follow or subscribe.
Head over to isjustgettingbetter.com to sign up for our email list, as well as check out all the links and resources in the show notes. And be sure to follow us on social media. If you love the show, will you please help us build our community by sharing it with friends? Until next time,
Keep just getting better.